fly in the air and all that poop, and the man in the middle of it flying through it. Quite interesting. And he landed, unfortunately, on his head on concrete and killed himself. Yeah. Like I always say, if you would know, if you watch Superman, it's like that. But let me tell you this. Unfortunately, I had to somehow. Unfortunately, it happened is that I see these people in my face, in my head all the time. When I see somebody that looks similar to that person, this guy, red-headed, blue-eyed, freckles. When I see a man like that, I see him. Okay, and so the other ones too. Anyway, never forget. I see those kids. They're still in my mind. And we get at my wife sometimes. I get up and walk around all night because I can't sleep. But anyway, that is just part of that. And if you have a dad or grandpa that have been friends in the war, they don't talk much about it. Anyway, my grandma fixed me up, and I won't make the story short because I had to leave town. It was, you know, like one main highway going through there. That's all I remember. And she sent me down that highway because if I go far enough, I will get to my house. I knew that because we went there many times because my aunt lived in that town before. So I ran. Again, it's a lot of snow, and then tanks was coming from all sides, and so I hid in the snow so they don't see me. And they passed. I run things. I ran all night, but I fell in one of the tank ditches. But the tank is 25 by 25 feet, 50 feet across. When the tank go in, I can't go back up. And they were across Europe everywhere. So the secret line had big old concrete blocks on the other side, France, and the other one in Russia, big tanks. Anyway, I fell in one of those ditches. It took me a while to crawl on, but I fell on top of a body. I don't know what kind it was, but it blew up. And it smelled very good, and I was all covered in that stuff. And I finally got out, and when I got to the street that goes toward my house, there was a little house there that a fellow used to work for us, and he was a German, and his wife was Jewish. And he just had a baby, and so I stopped down. They cleaned me up and put clothes on. She was 5 foot, and he was 6'6". Blonde, blue-eyed, German. She was black hair and black eyes, a Jewish woman. And so the only clothes that fit me was hers. Close enough, you know, and still were too long. And so I put on long johns and her slippers on. And so we was eating as a vehicle pulled up. We heard the door slam. Next thing, that door flew open, and 2 SS stepped in there and tried to ask who they were. And he said, he's a German. And she says she was Jewish because, you know, they had said, you look like a Jew. Are you Jewish? She was, yes. At that point, the other soldier hit him with the machine gun in the face, knocked him out. They tied him to the bed legs, and they stripped her, started raping her. And all of a sudden, another person walked in, a high-ranking officer, and asked what's going on. And this pointed at her and says, "We saved you something." Okay? And he says, "That's not my style," and he told him to get back to the vehicle. And then he walked over there to the bed, pulled out his Luger, and told the man, he says, you're not a German, this is a Jew. This is what I do to Jews," and shot him. And I shot her, and then he shot him. Now you can imagine how they were, they all bloody, beat up. And in between, the other two were told one told the other one, the baby woke up, to shut the baby off. It was about a month or two old. They grabbed the baby and slammed it, and all blood and rain and stuff all over me. And I panicked and screamed, and then they shut up because they told me to shoot me. And they threw that baby out on the porch after they smashed it on the wall. And so when the guy walked in, the high-ranking officer, he started unbuckling his pants. And I've seen those things all the way through the camps. And grabbed me by the neck, and when he drops his pants, his bayonet was here, and it pulled his pants down. I grabbed that bayonet and I ran it in his leg, and I ran. Right out the door. How many here ever went in snow? Anybody? Snow? I mean, where? Okay, I tell you what, next time you go, I want you to take your shoes off and your socks and see how far you can go in snow before you want shoes. Okay? Just try it. Just make a research out of that, okay? Anyway, I ran all the way to the road, had no shoes. Remember, I had slippers that came off. Ran all the way to the road through high snow, about my hip. It was still snowing and all. And I looked back, and nobody was following me. So I was this little cupboard. I crawled in there, and I waited. I didn't feel the call until I heard the vehicle start and drive off. Then I realized I was freezing. My hands, everything was black and blue. I got frostbites out of that. So when I got back, and I told the other class the same thing, I came to trying to figure out psychologically what does a 6-year-old kid think when they come back to this disaster. Most kids today, they would scream and keep running, right? Well, I came back in the house, I picked up the baby, put it on the mound, covered her up, I pulled that guy out. Apparently I cut his artery when I stabbed him. So he bled to death. Pulled him out, closed the door, covered the man, got dressed in her clothes, found some pants, and proceeded another 3 miles. By the time daylight was, I got home, where my grandfather and my mother was hiding. And then we later on got together with my aunt and my grandmother, but my other relatives, including my father, died in the war. But anyway, after that, we weren't finished because we didn't have any papers when the Russians got there. So they automatically, since we spoke German, assumed we was Nazis, and we ended up 4 years in Russian concentration camps. So we finally got cleared by the Swiss and American Red Cross and got released. Okay? So that was it. I probably have a few minutes. Any questions? Anybody? I'm not sure you got a question. What do we need to get paid?
You hadn't told them how you ended up in America.
Oh,
Why you came here.
I met a soldier in Vienna in the street car. He was on the street car, and I didn't like soldiers. I don't care if he was a milkman. He had a uniform on, I'd come after you. Anyway, I was standing behind him, and he had too much schnapps. He was just standing there, just wobbling. So I was behind him, and the doors were open, and I'm going to kick him right out the door. I was moving the train, okay? Well, I guess he could see me in the window, a reflection or something. When I kicked, he got a hold of me and, straightened me out first. And then he asked me, why do you want to do that? You spoke good German. And I told him I hate soldiers. He says, well, why you hate me? I didn't do nothing to you. I said, yeah, well, you're the same. So I got out of that station. Well, he asked me where I was staying. I was in this camp, Russian camp in Vienna. And next day he shows up at the camp with a bicycle, chocolate candy, stockings, all kind of stuff. because stockings you sell them in the black market, and you get food for that. So one thing I said, you're American, I don't know what that is, but you make the lousiest candy. I'm chewing on that stuff for an hour and it didn't melt yet. They gave me chiclets and a little chewing gum. Finally, well, after that I saved everything until they fell apart. Okay, behind the ear, behind the bedpost, everywhere. Okay, and he brought me a bicycle. Well, I got on the bicycle, but nobody showed me that there are brakes and things to it. So when I got to the bottom of the hill, I flew off it and the bike was kaput, okay? Took care of it. But I got next day, so I asked the man, I said, what kind of soldier are you? You're doing this, all this to your enemy. We Austrians, you know, and Hitler was Austrian. He says, why? That's how we are. We're Americans. What's America? Well, I never forgot him, and he was from Kansas. And so when I got to school, I was 10 years old when I got to first grade. But when I got to school, I found anything I could find about America. I knew every president, I knew the Constitution, I knew the Bill of Rights, I knew the salute to the flag, I knew everything, every state, what they produced, who the governor was, the population. I learned everything. By the way, who was the first president of the United States? Ah, wrong. There were 7, well, I said United States, not constitutional United States. There were 7 presidents before that. All right? Bingo. When it's not in your history book, apparently you don't like the people that came to the United States. Okay? Anyway, that's how I came to the United States, because I thought it must be some wonderful country here. Okay, then I found out I had an end over there. But coming over here was not like crossing the border today. I came over here, you had to be healthy, you had to have a trade, you had to have a sponsor to come over here, a sponsor to give you housing and work, a sponsor if you get in trouble to get you back. All that before you can come over here. I came over here, I swept in a factory floor. I wasn't doing the lunch, I learned how to weld, became a welder. And now, what? This country is so bad, people say. I got 2 bachelors, a master's, and about 2 semesters short of a PhD, a post-holding degree. Yeah. All right, but I just never finished. I done had enough schooling. I thought, all that with a middle school education. Because when I came from Australia, the only thing I had was a middle school. I never had high school. I went to a school down in Central Florida University, and he says, well, the semester starting, and we have no time to investigate your schooling. And he said, I tell you what, you start, I'll give you 4 classes. You pass those classes, you can go get your degree in speech pathology and audiology. Okay. I passed all 4 with a C. That was an introduction to algebra, okay, introduction to calculus, introduction to statistics, because I wanted to be an astronomer. Okay. So he started me with all his mathematics. And I just barely got out of all this. Why he did all that, I don't know, but I passed it in the seat.
Tell them about your first experience with capitalism.
Oh yeah. I came over here on the boat. I had $1, silver dollar they gave me. So I had earned. I working in the kitchen. Pier 52, New York City. Okay. Got up and waiting for the people to pick me up. I got hungry, and there was a little hot dog stand, New York hot dogs. If you ever went to New York, no one ever has hot dogs like New York hot dogs. Anyway, I said, I want a hot dog and a Coca-Cola. I pointed to it. The only word I knew in English was, thank you. So you call me whatever you want to call me. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Anyway, I was in the military. They finally graduated me because I couldn't speak English. So, and I got in trouble there too, so. Well, and they kept the whole dollar. It was only 25 cents, 15 cents for the hot dog and 10 a nickel for Coke. They kept the whole dollar. So I learned capitalism. This is how you make profit. Huh? Then I got drafted. 2 weeks later, I learned a couple words, but the thank you was still my #1 word. And I got investigated at Bowling Green, New York City, downtown induction center, because they asked me questions like, are you homosexual? Why do you hate the army? Oh, wow. All kind of weird questions. There's 5 important people. And I said, hey, I didn't answer that. The sergeant that spoke German, I didn't do that. I said, well, what are they talking about? He says, well, because you filled out the side of application that you have a period 3 times a month, you had a cesarean twice, you delivered 5 children, and so on and so forth. I said, what? Yeah, I filled out the wrong side of the application. One side was female, other side was male. And I couldn't read, I just put figures there, you know. So they wanted to court-martial me because I did that, so that's a lot of fun. And then I learned an extra word on the way to Fort Dix, New Jersey. The bus driver, well, it was all everybody talking, screaming in there. There was about 50 people in there in the bus. And he would holler every 10 minutes, shut up, you know. I was sitting right next to him down. When I got to the station, well, everybody from the back started running forward. There was this guy standing there with a little stick about that long. And he had some stupid stuff up here, it looked like a chicken. And he move it, move it, move it, move it, move it. And he hollered on those boys, and then they just falling out, looking at him, falling out. And I got out and they said, oh, shut up! And that was the base commander. I became the best potato peeler and the fastest one you ever see. That's all. I never went to chow, breakfast, lunch, or supper, without doing push-ups, sit-ups, chin-ups, jumps, squat. Then I could go eat, because this is called punishment. And then they had firing range. See how the dummy learns, how greenhorn learns, and the firing range is a perfect order. Ready on the right, ready on the left, fire. Sounds normal, right? Anybody would fire. Well, I did. Bam, right between the legs of the lieutenant. Well, they repeat this stuff. I didn't know that. They go it again. When the second time you can fire. None of it. I didn't understand that. So I stand there all night long in attention. Fort Dix, all night long, in the winter. It's not nice.